Welcome, this is To The Root podcast, brought to you by Transitions of Indiana and We Grow Hair Indy, where we get to the root of hair restoration solutions, navigating hair loss, embracing life's journey, and everything in between. All right, what a way to start a Monday morning or start a week, little podcast action.
It really is, but I'm super proud of our intro there. I mean, it only took us about 30 different tries, but I mean, we got there.
Reading from a script, who thought it'd be so hard,
huh?
Right? Tell us a little bit about yourself and why we're sitting here, I guess.
I'm super excited, honestly. This is our, getting this podcast out is something I think is going to be really beneficial for a lot of people because there's just so much information out there. But, with my position here with Transitions Indy, I'm the clinic director, and I've actually gone through hair loss myself as well, which you know very, very well. I mean, you were, part of We Grow Hair Indy for a long period of time, and I actually came in for a consultation and kind of came full circle to where we are today. So really, really excited to kind of go through, share experiences, share, the knowledge that we have with this too. And it's just really a lot of fun to be able to help with guiding people through this.
Yeah, obviously I'm not from around here,
No.
So little accent going on, from New Zealand. So I've been here about 20 years now. So I had a family link to the original company, which was Transitions of Indiana. In my early 30s, my wife and I, who's from the US, moved, as you know, to the States, and I had hair loss. So I went into Transitions and certainly wasn't looking to get involved in a hair restoration company at the time, but the owner of Transitions at the time was looking to start a hair transplantation company, and I had a lot of passion for that. I'd done a lot of research on hair loss myself, and it was something that was really important to me, and I kind of got involved, and that was late 2005 when we started We Grow Hair Indy.
Wow.
Here we are nearly 20 years ago, so it's
crazy how fast time goes, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's surreal, but it's been a great journey, a lot of fun.
It really is. A lot of fun. Awesome. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't always understand is like this is as much a physical thing as much as it is an emotional thing. And I think the thing that really drove me to wanting to do this was not just because I met with someone and it's like, okay, this all makes sense. The person I was meeting with had gone through the same type of scenario that I'd gone through, and being able to see the impact that result did for that person really spoke volumes. And I think that's probably similar to what you dealt with too, because we talk about this all the time, where there's logic and there's emotion when people are making decisions to do things. And this is not a thing that should necessarily be taken lightly or easily. It is something that impacts you, not just right now and immediate future, but also long term as well. I mean, You said that yourself, 20 years? It's been 20 years.
Yeah, I started losing my hair. I was 19. I grew up on a farm, so pretty isolated area. Wasn't a whole lot of hair restoration options, other than a bunch of dairy farms and a pub, a gas station, and a rugby field. So it's a pretty isolated area. And when you're in your teenage years and you're losing hair, it's really difficult, and there was a little bit of a stigma around that. I think when I was younger, people didn't talk about it. Guys didn't talk about it, right? You kind of just kept it in and didn't talk about how you felt about it. Especially the culture I was brought up in. It's that sort of stiff upper lip, and you just throw a hat on and away you go. So I think as I got into my 20s and I started to realize that there were perhaps solutions, that was empowering. So I kind of draw on that knowledge when I talk to people on a daily basis about this, that you try and break through all of the falsehoods about hair restoration, right? And I think that's part of what we're trying to do with this podcast, is just talk about what's real, what isn't, what works, what doesn't, and get to the root.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's perfect. Yeah, and it's I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, it's understanding the global aspect of this. This is not a one size fits all. What's good for one person doesn't mean it's going to be right for the next. And that's where people a lot of times can get sucked down a rabbit hole whenever it comes to different options, solutions, different. I mean, heck, for what it's worth, I mean, it could even be different, people on social media that are, very well known, that are opinionated on things. It's understanding science, what makes sense, what works, what doesn't work, and why. I think that's the biggest one, is why.
Well, I think people have to realize that hair restoration is it's not one thing, right? It's not just hair transplants. It's not just preventative things. Sometimes it's all of those things put together.
Right.
And so it's a very broad field. It's a fast changing field. And, we've been at this for over 20 years. I mean, transitions has been going for 25 years.
Yeah,
over 25 years. So we've seen a lot. We're at the forefront and looking at changes that are coming. And that's what's gratifying is we're going on journeys with our clients, right? So we're stepping them through those processes and we're living it ourselves every day.
Absolutely.
So it's exciting. It's
very exciting. And yeah, I think that we're going to get a lot of good information out there for people to be able to make decisions, be able to educate, regardless of what their decision is on where to go, how to do it, what they want to do, just at the very least having that, additional source to be able to make that best decision for themselves is really what this is all for.
Yeah, and just really quickly, shout out to the Fever, won on the weekend. So
nice.
Big win after the Olympics. So second part of the season underway. So go Fever. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was all right actually. Wife and kid are sick, so got to
it's always fun.
Got to play mom a little bit, which was good, but. All in all, I'm super blessed. Sickness or in health, I mean, we've still got an amazing family, and couldn't ask for more. It sounds like you had a pretty rough time with your driveway, though.
Little driveway repair. Hamstrings are hurting a bit today, but that's what you get when you're in your 50s, I guess, and you're crouching down all day on a Sunday. But
you feel like you just played a match of rugby?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it's probably my own worst enemy. I think I bit off more than I could chew with the driveway,
Right.
but. Anyway, big week at We Grow Henry this week, of course, procedures, surgery week, and, we're doing procedures 2 to 3 weeks a month and doing different types of procedures, of course. You and I have both had the multi-unit hair grafting procedure, which is a form of FUT, but as you know, we do both procedure types. Tell us a little bit about the distinction and the relationship between Transitions of Indiana, services-wise, and We Grow Henry.
Absolutely. So, Transitions Indy first started out, as you know, with the non-surgical hair replacement side of things. It's like a prosthetic. So some people that are, looking at wanting to have that look factor, right? But they may have too much, hair loss, or even if someone has, not a ton of advanced hair loss, but it's just, again, the look is that most important thing. This is a great option where you get your normal day-to-day life. You're able to, look in the mirror and be like, yes, that's me, right? But with the transition side, we really like to specialize things on the treatment side, right? So the laser hair therapy, which is FDA approved method for stimulating hair loss, or sorry, not stimulating hair loss, but stimulating hair growth, right? PRP, which is platelet rich plasma, helps with again strengthening and reinforcing follicles. So these treatment modalities are all really, really good at helping with existing hair that's going through the thinning process that. It's not someone that's bald, right?
And sorry, jump in. I think it's important for people to know that medical hair loss, genetic hair loss, is progressive if left untreated. And when we talk
100%.
about treatments, we're separating out treatments from hair transplants, where treatments are only working with follicles that are still there.
Right.
So if your follicles are still producing hair, they're still active, they can be treated to be reinforced and thickened.
Right.
And that's getting to the follicle early enough, right?
Well, and that's also to build on that. It's not to say that someone has to be completely bald to do a hair transplant, right? It's something where it can be a balancing act. And that's like myself, for instance. Whenever I had my procedure done, I mean, I was, not bald by any stretch of the imagination. I still had hair. A lot of my friends actually looked at me like, why are you thinking about doing a hair transplant? Well, I didn't want to become my dad. So for me, for me, it was like, I want to get ahead of the 8 ball on this, right? I don't want to be caught behind it.
Right.
And making sure that I'm doing the right things and taking the right processes to never be a bald guy, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big changes in our industry. In the past, it was you lose all your hair.
Then you do it.
Then you do it.
Right.
And even in the old days, there was a stigma, and I brought that up before, around how it looked and how unnatural it was with the plugs and the cornrows, right? And if I go back to my involvement and how I first got involved with the multi-unit hair grafting, we talked to a number of places around the country and outside the country to come and help us or to provide us technology for hair transplants, right? So we're not physicians, so we're going to license and contract physicians. And we went further afield. We went to Canada, and some physicians, including one of the physicians that, as you know, works at our clinic at the moment, developed a technology called multi-unit hair grafting, which at the time allowed us to transplant more hair in one procedure.
Right.
And so be able to bring that technology in, and it's evolved and changed since then, but it's still a real go-to. It's one of the things we're known for. And that was something we really sort of springboarded off, and that was 2005, 2006. And it was a little bit before your time, but and then, of course, 2008, 2009 came along. We were building the practice, and the financial crisis hit, and that was fun. But, you know, we got through it, and we added more services, and obviously with your involvement, 2016,
2016, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but yeah, I've been with the clinic for 8 years now.
8 years. Yeah. Goes
It's
fast.
gone by really fast.
It's just crazy. When you look back to where we are now and how we've grown over the years, of course, we moved into some new space right before COVID.
Yeah, that's another fun time.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the key points that if you explain to somebody in 20 seconds kind of what we do, what would you say?
I think that's a good one. Honestly, it's restoring confidence, restoring our own sense of person, right? And again, I can only really relate with what I've seen, obviously, with helping with our clients, but also myself personally, is looking in the mirror and being like, that's me. You know, feeling like you are yourself again, you are your person, you are, you know, your day to day. Like, you don't have that burden or that weight on you, right? So it's actually it's a very, very hard question to answer in 20 seconds.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's actually what makes this such a special thing, though, is that this isn't something that can just be answered in a flip of a switch, which is why I'm really excited about the different segments, different episodes where we're going to be able to talk through these things on a really broad scale, which I think will be great.
I think for me, having hair is a practical thing.
Yeah.
You know, I like to get up in the morning and not worry about it.
Except for bedhead, right?
A bedhead. I wouldn't say I'm somebody that has every hair in place every day. You know, and some clients, that's how they are, and that's great. You know, that's what you love, then all power to you. So I like the practicality of having hair. And if I think back, I think about the people that, if you had said to me, we would have been working with some of the VIPs and the high-profile people that would have hair restoration done 20 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. Right. So that's been really gratifying. Speaking of the technology and the approaches we have, multi-unit hair grafting, you and I both had it. It's a form of FUT, follicular unit transfer, where we're harvesting the follicles from the back of the scalp. Those follicles are genetically permanent. I had a guy last week, and I have a lot of people say this to me. They think that when you take follicles from the back, they regrow, but they don't. So we're just redistributing those follicles, right? Yeah. So the multi-unit hair grafting allows us to do it in ways where we can still create a natural look, but create a lot of density and a lot of coverage.
Right.
FUE, right? Follicular unit extraction. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, FUE is gaining a lot of traction right now in the hair restoration world, but there's different forms of doing it. There's manual FUEs, there's NeoGraft, SmartGraft, there's Artist, there's just your general handheld punch with the actual FUE device itself. There's a place in the market for it. People like to wear their hair really short along the back and sides in the donor area. I mean, that's something that does allow for flexibility there. But again, someone that has more advanced hair loss, those types of things, you just got to tiptoe the line a little bit and make sure that you're making sure you're putting them in a situation that's going to allow for them to prosper in the future too, which I think we're actually going to go into a lot of detail with that here pretty soon in another episode that we've got coming up shortly. But I'm actually really excited to talk about that because there's just so much stuff that's going on.
There's a lot of misinformation out there at the moment. And FUE is not a new procedure. People think it's new, but its origins are really back in the days when they did the plugs. It's just a more refined version of it. So that's going to be a fun chat. This has been great, Will.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Really excited for the series,
for
the podcast. If you guys have any questions, email us at info@wegrowhairindy.com. We're happy to answer the questions on the podcast and continue to follow us as we go through this series. Will, great to be here.
Great. It's awesome to be here.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Email us at info@wegrowhereindy.com with your questions or topics you want to cover. Head to our website to schedule your free consultation with one of our experts. I'm Darren Andrews.
And I'm Will Sadler.
Thank you for listening. Catch you next time.